Money FM 89.3. Best of Friday Night Live. Thank Fitness it's Friday.
It's the roar of the crowd, Neil. The slam of the slads. The ski ergs just firing and wall balls flying all around.
Wall balls?
Yeah, wall balls.
Okay.
Thousands of athletes, they flock to the National Stadium in Singapore 2025 earlier in June of, I think it was 28th of June. HYROX is back at the National Stadium. Or was, should I say. This was just a scene that happened just weeks ago at the AIA HYROX Open Asian Championships 2025, one of, if not, the biggest HYROX races Asia has ever seen. So, you know what made this HYROX Asia's Championships special? Is the fact that they introduced the new corporate structure, a corporate relay. And that's where you can get, teams from different companies to form a team of 4 and to compete together to see who can come up as the best.
Is this what you did?
Unfortunately, no. I did the one with my friends. So that was just a regular team relay. So could this be the new way of, promoting team bonding within your companies? Could this help you to build camaraderies among your friends in the workplace? Well, we're going to find out with our friends at HYROX. In fact, he was once with us last year, and he's joining us again right here on Thank Fitness is Friday. So to break it all down and to find out what to look out for the upcoming races, let's welcome on the show William Petty, the country manager for HYROX Singapore. Good evening, Will. How are you doing today?
Hey, Dan. Hey, Neil. Very good, thank you. How are you?
Been great. And I had a blast at this year's HYROX, and to say that the crowd was overwhelming might be an understatement. So to start off, how was the turnout for this year's event?
I mean, it was a phenomenal turnout this year, particularly compared to last year where we started with 6,500. We've managed to bump up to just over 12,500 athletes, which is just spectacular to see. But including spectators as well, we were nearly 25,000 people into the stadium over the weekend, which is, certainly spectacular.
And the simple question from me is, how? How did you do it? What do you think is the secret to your success? Because this thing has exploded in the last year or so.
Yeah, no, I agree. We've been very fortunate with the take-up. I think there's such a community built around HYROX, whether it's the gyms, whether it's the partners, you've got the branding, the clothing, and the communities outside of that, the friendships, families. I think it's taken hold so much within all of these that's inspiring more people and new people to take on something like the challenge of HYROX. So we're no longer seeing those early engagers who are already into the fitness. We're seeing a lot of new faces and new people trying stuff out and getting into HYROX and fitness racing.
Yeah, it's truly fascinating because building up to the race, I mean, when I look at my Instagram and my Facebook feed, everything was just filled with HYROX, people just training for HYROX. So what do you think stood out to you the most for this year's race? I mean, was it just the athletes, the atmosphere? Was it something unexpected that happened behind the scenes?
I think HYROX this year, in Singapore, had a real good twist because it was the Open Championships. So we were able to provide something a little bit extra special. We had, obviously, our new corporate relay, which was an absolute blast. I think the vibe of the athletes taking place in the corporate relay was unlike what we've seen in the relays before. We had all the teams in their matching outfits, cheering each other on, but in much bigger groups as well. So the atmosphere around that alone was phenomenal. We had the country relay, the mixed relay Asian Championship Invitational, which is where we saw teams of 4, so 2 male, 2 female from each of the different countries around the region, including a couple from the Middle East as well, all racing in a head-to-head competition at the end of the event, and that was an absolute blast. But I think for me, the real big one was actually the vibe, particularly towards the evening with all the lights. We had the stadium roof lighting going on in the evening. It's the first time I've seen that.
Wow.
With the coloured lights around the warball area, the crowds, the cheering. I think the atmosphere that we managed to build towards the end of each day was just like nothing I've ever seen in Singapore before. It was a spectacle.
Let's talk more about the corporate relay that Dan mentioned earlier. It was your big event this year, new format. Why do you think it's been so popular? I mean, so many companies now. I mentioned off air that my insurance agent this morning said they put a team in as well. What is it about companies that are leaning into this model, this fitness as a form of team building, building morale, building team culture? What's your thought on that?
companies have been looking into wellness and all this for a long time now, which is such a great thing to see. They're really trying to lean in to see how can they help to develop the workforce and make a healthier lifestyle for everyone. I think what HYROX has been able to assist with that is the relay format is very approachable because you do 2 sections of the race each. You're not having to complete the whole thing. And it's that whole team spirit around it as well. You can train towards it. You can talk about it in the office, what are the techniques you're using, who's doing which station. There's so much more around it rather than just turning up to the race and taking part. So I think that's really helps to gauge what we've seen at the event with the numbers that we were getting. I think also on top of that, with what people have seen through social media, as you said, everybody's seen them on social media, seen their friends, and so people want to get involved. They want to have a look, see how, and so having the corporate side kind of buy into that really has helped for people to kind of take that first step and give it a go. So all I can hope is that, the corporate side really helps to kind of diversify that and allow new people to step into the sport.
Yeah, I truly believe that it goes quite a big way in at least inspiring people to join. In fact, I was speaking to some folks on the ground about how they felt about the corporate relays, and they did say that it was about learning things that they never knew their colleagues had in each other, learning about their strengths and weaknesses, and of course learning to work together as a team, not just in the office, but outside as well. So what kind of feedback have you received from, companies who took part in this year? Not just in performance, but just connection and spirit as well.
So everything I've heard so far from those who've taken part is they loved it. I think they, as you said, they loved the spirit of it. They enjoyed the teamwork aspect, the fact that they were doing something outside of work together as a team and that they could work towards it together. So I think that was the kind of the response we're getting is thankfully an overwhelmingly positive response. And most people just say, when can we do the next one?
That's brilliant. I want to focus more on your background for a second for our listeners. You came from the British Army, I believe, originally. Then you came to Singapore and you set up a gym which had a very militaristic, disciplined style of training, which almost seemed revolutionary at the time. You've took that into HYROX, that same level of discipline, and it's just exploded, not only in Singapore, but across Asia. And you've been on the ground level watching this happen. What has been your thoughts on that? What are the reasons for this explosion in HYROX popularity across Asia?
Asia, you're right, has really seen a good explosion. And we've seen that globally. I think for me, on the ground, one thing I've certainly seen internally is the development, the constant want and need for improvement. How can we add new things? How can we learn from our mistakes? How can we improve the efficiency? How can we make that experience better every single time? And that's kind of core to us. We're not here just to put on an event. We want to put on the best event that we can and therefore help people see this new thing that they can jump into and help develop their fitness and their healthy lifestyle. Outside of that, for me, I think the key thing is we're living in an age now where everything is very Instagrammable. Everyone wants to see what's the exciting thing. And I think HYROX seems to basically sell itself. As soon as you have one event, everyone's taking their photos, showing this fantastic, new, amazing event. You've got all the lights, you've got the people, the races, and it's a spectacle. And so when people see that, they then want to give that a go. And then when their friends see that, then they want to give a go. And you get this kind of that slow expansion of, as I said at the beginning, kind of those who've never thought about doing something like this in their lives, now being inspired to give it a go themselves.
Yeah. What I find interesting here is how HYROX has become part of the conversation. People talk about it in the office. I hate using cliche terms, but it's become a bit of a water cooler talking point. It reminds me, William, something you'll empathise with. When I was in the UK, the London Marathon, that was more than just an event. That was a year-round thing that people would talk about. They'd discuss their training programs, their diet and so on. How do you hope and how can you make that happen for HYROX in Singapore, where it's not just a one-day event, it becomes a year-round cultural event?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think this is where the communities and the partners and the brands and all this stuff kind of helps to buy into that ecosystem, because you've got people talking about what shoe they're going to wear for the race, which races are they going to race in outside of Singapore. We've got such large numbers of people going to race into Hong Kong next weekend or into Japan or trying out these new races and using it for travel. what do we eat? As you said, your insurance company, all of them talking about how many of their members taking part. So I think it's just that ecosystem that you see around HYROX. And as that grows, particularly with the corporate side leaning in, allowing much more people kind of getting that accessibility to the race, we're only see more and more, and hopefully we only see more and more of it, because again, it's trying to help drive that healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. Now, Will, I'd like to get your thoughts on this one because, as with most exercises I've seen over the years, I mean, some of them tend to fizzle out just, after a period of hype. It's really fascinating to see how much it's built, how much of a community it's built for itself when it comes to HYROX. But how do you think you can build a sustainable mindset among these communities, especially, what do you think would be a good strategy to keep people motivated to stay on track, not just for HYROX, but just in their general health and lifestyle?
Yeah, fair question. So obviously HYROX's standardized format is often seen as it can get outdated and it can fizzle out. But I think also in the long term, it's that progression in terms of you can see how you've developed, what do you need to work on, and all this type of stuff. Very similar to what you see with marathons, triathlons. I mean, look at a game of tennis. It's not changed in hundreds of years or however long, but yet everyone still loves to go and watch it every single time. And so it's the development of the sport. And I think as the sport starts to mature, I mean, we're still very young as a sport. As that starts to mature, I think we're going to see much more of that kind of take hold, particularly on the professional side, which will then inspire the personal side and the amateur side. So all of that is very, very exciting. I think the other side is, as I said, is the communities. I think the fitness community has been able to take hold of HYROX and use it to build itself back up again. COVID was savage. I had that firsthand with my gym that I had. And HYROX was an absolute game changer for us. We were able to really use that to kind of build back up, get people inspired to train, people inspired to do these other, and then that kicks you into other events as well, whether it's going to marathons or swims or other fitness races. And it's all part of building up that ecosystem. Again, HYROX is just a stepping stone within all of that.
Wow. Wonderful. Now, William, the man sitting beside me, I'm still not sure if he did you a disservice, because when his video went viral of his bulging biceps, I do sometimes wonder if it put the regular person off who thinks, I've got to look like Dan, bulging muscles and thighs and everything before I can take part. But that's a little bit of a misconception, isn't it? Some people think they're not fit enough, they're not strong enough, they're not physical enough, so they avoid entering. What would you say to those who might be thinking about it but think, is this too tough for me?
I mean, my first answer is always, it's definitely not too tough for you. Every single race, you've always got the guys at the very front, the people that you can see is the elite racers, the strong, the buff athletes. But behind that, and with amongst all of that, you've got every other athlete that's taking part in the race itself. We don't call ourselves the race for everybody because we only perform for the elite. HYROX is so accessible because, there's so many different ways you can take part, whether it's a volunteer, whether it's a spectator, or whether it's coming in, trying a relay for the first time, doing doubles with your friends. There's so many different ways to take part within the HYROX experience, away from just being that pro athlete like Dan up at the front.
That's a bit of a stretch, though.
It's a big stretch.
If you're nervous, for sure, it's just come and take a watch, have a look, and you'll see into the crowds and all those people taking part that it's not the case at all. And actually, there's so many more people out there that are taking part in this thing that it's fantastic to see.
All right. Now, well, we've got just a bit of time left. So, just before we end, I know that you teased us a little bit at the start of the show and told us that there will be a HYROX event that's happening at the end of this year. Could you tease us a little more? Tell us what fans, athletes, and first-timers can look forward to in the next edition of HYROX. And if you could design a new HYROX workout station, what kind of Singapore twist would you give to it?
Let's start with off. So the event's going to be in November. It's the last weekend of November, and it's at the Singapore Expo. So same as last year. However, thankfully, we've managed to get a little bit later in the year to give people a good, solid bit of time between the stadium and the Expo. Again, we'll have our usual races with the singles, doubles, and relays. We will have our pro races back again at the end of this year, which is going to be exciting to see. And as well, we're going to have our corporate relay. So it's going to be another big and exciting race. We've taken up more space. There's more things getting added in. So it's going to be another fantastic one, I'm sure. If I was to add my own station with a Singapore twist, interesting. I guess there's kind of two ways you could lean in with this. One would be food related.
Yes.
Although I don't know whether you would want to eat mid-race. You could do you have to, before you get up the wall balls, eat some chili crab or some chicken rice.
Whoa, you get a lot of people on board for this one. That's for sure. Or some durians, perhaps. Doubles. While your partner's doing it, you've got to eat a bit of chili crab. I guess the other one, maybe you could lean into another sport. I don't see dragon boat racing is very popular out here. You could maybe attach some sort of paddle to the ski erg. And so instead of pulling down with two hands like you're skiing, it could be some sort of dragon boat alternative. Could be my other option.
Nice.
And that's the reason why he is the country manager for HYROX Singapore. We've been speaking to William Patty, the country manager for HYROX Singapore, talking all about what to expect for the upcoming HYROX races happening in November. If people would like to find out more about the race and yourself, what can they look for?
Check out the Instagram. It's definitely the best way. It's a HYROX SG on our Instagram. We do have a website as well. Just type in HYROX Singapore and you'll get all the information on there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Will.
Thank you, William.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me back. And hopefully I'll see you again soon.
Yeah, for sure. Take care. Meanwhile, stay right here with us on Money FM 89.3.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.